Talking Music with Big Andy. This week, Wolforna are talking music with me, Big Andy. Hello, welcome to the podcast. I'm Big Andy, as you know, and I have with me guys from Wolforna. Hi, how you doing?
How's it going?
Yeah, really good. Thank you. Glad to have you with us. So, Wolforna, the name, you said it was a name you've made up. You never, no idea what it means or where it came from, really. But why choose that name?
It's an interesting one. I'll let you go for that one.
we keep trying to come up with made up reasons, sort of fake, funny reasons but we've not got around to doing that yet. To be honest, there is absolutely nothing to that name. I'm sure of it. I'm sure it just sounds cool. Like when we were trying to find a name for the band, we were like looking at street signs and trying to find inspiration, in shop aisles and stuff like that. But in the end, we thought we I don't even know how we came up
somewhere. I had a list of names somewhere, and I can't remember where they came from or why I put them together. And I was like, "Look, guys, we need a band name. So here's a list of like 20. Choose one." And then I think Adam was like, "Oh, Wolforna sounds pretty cool. What does that mean?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'll Google it." And then I Googled it, and nothing really came up. So I was like, "Well, if you Google Wolforna now, we're the only things that comes up. So that's great."
No, that's really good. Yeah. It's an interesting name though, because it's like, it's kind of, conjures up lots of images because you've got the whole wolf thing in there. That's kind of, a lot of imagery around that.
That's what people seem to be doing with it. Like everyone we've spoken to wants it to be about wolves and animals.
Yeah. Right, I suppose, fauna is like sort of the plants, isn't it? So it's sort of like a mixture of the wolf and the plants. So I don't know. I'm sure you can come up.
Have I got that wrong? Is it not flora that's plants?
Oh, yeah, no, fauna. Yeah, fauna's plants as well, isn't it? I don't know.
It's fauna. Oh well. Forget I ever said that.
I don't know. It's all something. Anyway, right. So when I was a bit confused because when I looked up to get some information about you guys, first thing I saw was it said you were a 4-piece rock band from Leeds, and then I saw a thing saying you started off as an acoustic band.
Yeah,
it's a 3-piece, then became a 4-piece, and I saw somewhere that it described you as folky Americana.
Where was that?
And I thought,
but.
Are you rock? Are you?
So we had started out originally so we were an acoustic 3-piece. So there was myself, Adam, and Alex. We used to be in a band like years and years ago when we were like 15, 16-ish, and sort of went away to university and whatnot. Adam and Alex lived together and still did music bits. And then when I came back, we just started jamming again and doing covers. But because there were just the 3 of us, we just did acoustic bits, and then we started writing music. And we released a couple of songs acoustically. So we were originally an acoustic band, and then as we started to play more gigs, we were like, hold on a minute, I think this will be better if we get a drummer and we get louder. So we became rock, but yeah, folk Americana. I don't know where I've not seen that. But maybe that's probably something that's come up on Google. I don't know, but interesting.
It's. I can see it because the stuff I listen to, the acoustic stuff.
Yeah,
it's a thing that happens. I think because you're playing acoustically, people immediately go, "Oh, they're a folk band." For some reason, I don't know quite why that is. But then when you kind of switch to playing rock music, people kind of And it depends on the style of music you're playing as it goes. I mean, Americana seems to be a big thing at the moment. I don't know quite why, but anything that's got even a vague reminiscence of kind of like anything sort of, I don't know, Springsteen or someone like that, everyone says, oh, it's Americana.
Yeah.
Not really, it's rock music, you know. But I don't know. So when did you actually start as the three-piece?
When did we start as a three-piece?
Before I was born.
Yeah. It was. I want to say December or the back end of 2018.
Yeah, I think it was
the back end of 2018. So
right.
Yeah, we started out. We just played a few open mic nights, a few local gigs and whatnot, and things were going well, and we were kind of enjoying it. And then I remember playing one gig in Leeds, where I had a really terrible performance. And I was thinking, you know, if I had a drummer behind me, most of that probably wouldn't have been heard by the audience.
Don't take that as gospel, anyone that's listening. We don't just rely on Theo to cover up terrible music.
I don't know why. In my head, I thought you were going to end that line with, "If I had a drummer behind me, I could have blamed them."
well, we do plenty of
really
that.
selling ourselves.
So then you got a drummer, but I understand you actually had two drummers.
Yeah,
you're now on your second drummer.
We are, going through hotcakes.
Yeah, this guy's time's running out now.
Yeah, so a couple of months left in his trial period, and then we're on the next one. But,
so the original drummer is a guy that we knew from. Well, I knew him from several years before. I went to the same school as us and everything, and I played a few gigs with him before.
Right.
So I thought we'll bring him in and try him out, and it was great. To be fair, it was good fun, but to be honest, it was just in the end, it sort of came to a clash of what we wanted out of the band and what he wanted out of the band, what he wanted to do with the band. Like we're very serious. I like to think we're very serious. Like we want to go as far as our abilities and fortune can take us.
Yeah.
Whereas he wasn't as bothered about that.
Right.
So, and we never, it was never like we never got rid of him. We spoke about it, and he said, "I don't think this is for me," sort of thing.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. That's
And and then we looked straight away. And the first guy that applied that asked to audition when we put out the ad was him. And
so
that's it.
The rest is history.
I mean, to be fair, we thought we'd struggle because they're sort of a rare breed drummers, especially good ones. Like they really are like difficult to find.
Yeah.
We had quite a few people coming through and saying, "Oh, I'm interested," you know. So we checked everyone out, sort of got them to send a couple of videos in and whatnot. I looked on the social media, and Theo was just like excellent. So we got him in for an interview with the an audition.
It was like an interrogation, really.
Yeah.
And we had two guys in at the time, and then we sort of knew that we got them both back in for a second audition, but we sort of knew at the time that Theo had got it.
Yeah, we used to have there used to be a thing where you used to say that if you were to throw a penny over your shoulder in a rock pub from the stage, you'd hit a guitarist. If you were to throw it towards the bar, you'd hit a bass player. If you were really lucky, you might get a singer, but you'd hardly ever find a drummer.
There's 20 good guitarists for every good drummer. I tend to find that because again, there's plenty of drummers out there, but the guys that are really pushing it, like the guys that are very skilled,
they've all already got bands.
They're all
normally in about 3 different bands.
It just so happened that just before COVID sort of kicked off, my previous band I'd been in this band since we were sort of 11, 12 sort of thing, and we'd gone right through school.
That's a whole 4 years ago.
So we were just sort of disbanded at the time. and Adobe's just decided to do some updates.
Yeah, so
that had nothing to do with the band. Yeah, so I'd sort of gone through lockdown without a band, and then when we sort of April last year,
probably a bit earlier, I think, to be honest.
Sort of March, April last year, I just saw something just come up on my Facebook.
Yeah.
Jack had posted on some Facebook group, "Oh, we're looking for a drummer. This is everything." So I just thought, chance my arm. And within sort of, a month?
Yeah,
I was part of the machine.
A fully fledged member of the band. He's still on his probation, by the way.
that joke never seems to get old for some reason.
And it never will.
So, all right, how would you describe your music? Would you just describe it as rock? Would you just use anything to kind of temper that at all? So, a specific style of rock, or?
Well, we've struggled with it. We've struggled with trying to classify it as it being any one thing. Like with most bands and artists that you see, there are normally a few artists that you can pick out and go, yeah, they sound like those guys. They sound like those guys.
Yeah.
Whereas with us, it's not just. I'm not trying to say we're doing super original music or anything like that, but the overall sound and the texture, I think, and the influences are grabbed from so many different places that, it
all comes together.
It all comes, it almost creates its own sound that we have taken to calling orange rock. But it really, it's hard rock mixed with like sort of hard classic rock mixed with a more modern, softer indie style vocal. Is probably what we're going for.
I must admit, you do have a very. I've been around a long time, unfortunately, and I do have a tendency to do this thing of when I hear a song or I hear a band, I go, "Oh, that sounds like whoever, a obscure band that I heard about 35 years ago or something." But when I listened to your stuff, I wasn't doing that. I was just listening to the music, which was really nice. It was refreshing for me to listen to a band and not immediately compare them in my head to somebody else I've heard.
Well, that's basically what we're trying to do. Yeah, that's basically what we're trying to do. We're sort of trying to create our own corner in the market, if you will, rather than trying to join in with everything that's popular at the moment. We're going to try and make what we're doing popular. Yeah.
The band don't have any proper videos up at the moment, so let's just hear some of the music. What are your influences then? I mean, what sort of music made you want to get into playing music?
Probably one, but I mean, you can go away. There's such a mixture from all of us, all different stuff. But you're the music guru, way. So.
Well, for me, I'm just a big classic rock fan, so I love the Beatles and Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, The Police, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
they're like my that's like my inspiration. But what actually got me started playing was Blink-182. That's where I started playing bass in my case. Yeah.
We've got, I think between us all, we have a very wide-ranging taste in music. I never like to put it to one thing. I think pop punk and the sort of 90s alternative rock stuff, all the Seattle grunge and everything like that. I love all that sort of stuff. but I'm also massively into hip hop. You know, and I know that that's not going to necessarily have any. Well, it's certainly not shown in some of the music that we've done so far. But I feel like in the future it is something that I probably would like to.
I mean, the thing is, you could quite easily pick up very small bits that from that music and put them in without even realizing you're doing it. You know?
Yeah, it could be like the groovy little drum breaks and stuff like that
Yeah.
you typically find in hip hop.
Yeah,
we can have that in our music, you know. I mean, it doesn't have to be rapping verses and everything like that, you know. But yeah, it's always difficult to answer the question of what music we're into, because it is
So diverse.
it's everything. Yeah, it's everything. Like there's very little I'm not into.
No, that's cool. That's cool. So as far as your recordings and things go, I was going to say I was listening to some of your songs. I did some of the ones. They were. It's not that I didn't like the others, but there were 4 that kind of stood out for me. First one I was going to say about was Harley Quinn.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but I really liked that. It really kind of grabbed me, if you like. You know, I really sort of got into that. What were the origins of that?
That's just one of yours.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those songs that's sort of like it's a repetitive riff, so it gets in your brain. I think a lot of people have said at gigs they like that one just because it's just got that repetitive bounce. I think I just came up with it during lockdown.
Right.
The original lockdown, just mucking about, and then it was pretty basic. It was that riff basically, and some sort of vocals over it, and then me and Adam got together and developed it quite a bit.
Yeah, we decided that we wanted it to be sort of big and mean and, you know, nasty sort of thing. So it's quite nice, and, you know, the verses are quite nice and catchy and gentle and everything, and then it drops into the chorus and it's quite dark.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
and it's got all the noise.
There's a lot going on in there, and we've got that. There's sort of like a bit of an evil laugh in the breakdown of it, which I think we were just looking about with the demo, and I thought, it'd be funny to put an evil laugh in there. Someone said, so we did it, and then it sounded great. So we were like, yeah, that works. But yeah, that's sort of the one. And it's obviously the title track of the EP that we released as well. Yeah. Last year. So yeah, it's a pretty popular one live.
A good point about that song is that it's the last one we recorded on the EP, and you could probably tell as we go. If I were to tell you the order that we recorded the EP in, you'd be able to see how we developed as we went on the process. It's a recording band.
So during the lockdown, were you doing a lot of writing and stuff, or did you get to do much in the way of rehearsing and recording?
In the initial lockdown, we didn't meet up or anything like that. So we just set our minds to writing loads of songs, and a lot of those songs are still in the pipeline now. So we did loads of stuff. So the one we've just released, Broken Bones and Gritty Fights, that was from then as well. That's it's nearly 2 years old, that song.
Yeah, that was another one that I really like. That it's weird. I don't know why. It's kind of catchy, but not, if that makes sense. You know, it's got a sort of an odd catchiness to it, which is really, really cool. It makes it's something different about it.
Yeah, I mean, even that, it's funny how you sort of think about the songs how they develop, because when I first did, I had a bit of I think, we all did, we had a massive burst of sort of motivation in the first lockdown, because I ended up going on furlough in work as well, so I had like a few months where I just nailed it constantly. Right. An audio interface and then just went for it, and then sort of Broken Bones and Gritty Fights that were quite it was more of a poppy, like it were very Oasis-y, Broken Bones and Gritty Fights, like open chords and whatnot first of all. And then obviously that's a beast that changed into what it is now, which is essentially a hard rock song. So yeah, I love how it turned out. It's awesome.
That's really good. I really enjoyed that. So, I mean, how do you go about writing the songs? Do you kind of all work on it together, or do you work on stuff individually and then bring it all in for the whole group to sort of develop?
Yeah, so we don't actually do much writing initially together. So, we rarely say, let's meet up and write a new song or try and come up with some new ideas or something. We would normally come up with the ideas ourselves, and they're normally quite basic, stripped down ideas. Like I often develop my own demos a little bit more, but that's because I'm a dictator and I like things to be done my way. But they're often sort of stripped down demos, and then we meet up, we start practicing it and playing it, and then it goes through the process that we call the meat grinder, which is just a fantasy. It's not a fancy term, is it? But a term for the pre-production process, recording demos at home, and going through the song and figuring out how we can make it better. And we do that for every song.
We're lucky enough that these three are really good songwriters. I just get used more of a consultant for what the drums because I've never been particularly good at writing my own songs, but coming up with, you know, a drum part for something that's already been written, quite good at doing.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's pushed, especially this super secret song that's no one knows that's being released.
Yeah.
Like that was one of the first songs I could properly get my teeth into and really give it some welling.
Yeah.
So is this a new song you're on the verge of releasing, or?
Couldn't possibly tell you. No, maybe.
Yeah.
Something in the pipeline. Again, it's one of those songs that was an initial sort of lockdown song that's took a bit of a back seat, and then since Theo's come in and we brought it sort of back to life again and proper played through it and did a proper thorough pre-production process for it and demo for it, and we finished the bulk of it up in the studio last weekend, and it's in a really good place. Really excited about this one.
It's one of those. It's a song that I actually didn't like for most of its 2-year existence. Like, I thought, we just need to get rid of this one. It's no good. And then, but obviously with these guys being insistent that we do it, I thought, okay, let's try and make it into something that I can enjoy.
Yeah.
And now I think it's probably going to be our best song yet.
Cool. No, that'd be cool. Yeah. The other ones I like. In His Dreams, I liked.
Ooh, yeah, I love that song.
Yeah,
that is a really, really good song. I just kind of, it kind of surprised me in a way, because it's not the same as the others, if you like. It stands out on its own, which is really good.
Bit more classic rock. I feel that one's a little bit more classic rock influence than the others. You know, there's a little bit of classic rock in all of it, but that sounds like it could have been from, 40 years ago.
Yeah, I agree, definitely.
I think In His Dreams it might be on the top of my favourite Wolforna songs, to be honest. I mean, in terms of sort of, if we recorded that song now, the execution of it would be so much better. However, the actual song itself, I just love that song. Like, I think it's really good. Like, I think it's very it's very individualistic, that song. I think that's it.
Yeah, definitely.
Playing it live as well.
It's one of my favourite songs in the set to play live.
Yeah,
I think by a long way, it's one of my favourites.
Yeah,
I could see that being a big live song, and it going down really well.
Break in the middle when it goes from that sort of clean, soft, dreamy type tone, and then there's a break and it goes into those sort of hard power chords. But
yeah.
When people know the song as well and they know it's coming, it's good to play live.
Yeah, I think most hard rock bands have that. Classic rock bands have one of those songs that does that. It starts off in this nice kind of, and then kind of hits at a certain point, and it's really good to have one of those, because
I think it's. I was saying this the other week. In my opinion, the dynamics of a song is the most important part when it comes to studio recordings.
Yeah,
I really think it's the thing that pulls you in and grabs you. You know what I mean? It got that soft to hard. It's very important, I think, in creating depth in a track.
Yeah, definitely, and it works so well with that song. It does really work well. The other one was Better Watch Your Back.
Oh yeah,
that's a really good one. I don't know. It's the lyrics to that, I think, are fantastic. It's just like,
Yeah, I love that song. Yeah, that's an old one from way back in the day. So the recorded version of it's just home recorded with, you know, nothing more than probably £300 or £400 worth of recording equipment.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it turned out really well. I really like that song.
it probably sounds better for that because of the fact that it's got that kind of rawness to it.
Yeah.
That goes really well with the subject matter and the type of song it is. It kind of has that kind of raw edge.
But looking at an eerie undertone to it, hasn't it? Like, you know, yeah, it's.
I'd still like to play that one live today. So we have played it. We played it as a 4-piece when we've done a few acoustic gigs.
Right.
But I think a song like that could fit into our full set.
Yeah.
Could break it down and play just with the guitars, acoustic guitars.
And I can go to the bar.
And you can go to the bar and get some stuff.
So let's have a listen to some more music.
I must confess, I can't see reason. My mouth is fogged, I'm losing my grip on you. Only know it's true. And 5 years pass, and we've been fighting to bridge these cracks. I see it getting to you. You've come right through.
So, what I mean, have you been playing lots of gigs? Because I know the lockdown thing has been made that difficult for a lot of bands. So, have you been able to get out there and play live?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to answer that because I've forgotten most of them.
I'll tell you what to do. Tell Jack to answer it.
Jack, you can answer this one. Come on.
Yeah. So, I mean, to put it into perspective, when you say we've had 2 drummers, with the first drummer that we had, Ollie, so we recorded In His Dreams, a song called I Came to Your Shores, and Harley Quinn EP with Ollie, but we never ever played a gig with Ollie, not once. Because when we were sort of with him, it was all through lockdown, not lockdown. You got a few weeks where you can get in the studio, then you're back locked in your own house again. Yeah. So we never got around to gigging. And then when the transition with Ollie and Theo happened, which was, let's say, sort of March, April time last year, we were still in a sense of lockdown where there were no gigs going on. Our promoters were too unsure to put anything on.
Yeah.
We got a gig at sort of a local festival called Morefest in the July. And we had a period of time, albeit a pretty short one, but we were sort of uncertain, where we didn't have a drummer. And we were booked in for a gig, and I was like, I'm not going to cancel it. We're going to keep it. We'll get a drummer. We'll get it sorted out. So his first gig was July last year, a little mini festival. So that was a real, we not only had we not gigged as a full band and not only have we not gigged with Theo, we never gigged as a 4-piece band. Since we're about 15, 16. So it was sort of an experience, and then we just developed since then. So we've probably done 7 gigs maybe as a band so far. Not a ton. Yeah, probably about 7-ish.
Yeah.
Well, that's not bad. I mean, considering the way the things have been, that's pretty good. It's a pretty good number, to be honest.
I think that the thing with it is it'd be great to be playing gigs every weekend, but when you're doing that, you can't do all the other stuff.
Yeah.
It's all day in the studio if you want to record. You know what I mean? Because we all have day jobs through the week, so it's all day on a Saturday in the studio. So
yeah,
we want to have time to practice and all that sort of thing.
you do need to take time to do the writing and the practicing and the recording and all that sort of thing.
I think we've worked out a pretty good split now, to be honest. Like it is full on, and like I think we all love that. Like it is like it's just like a second job, you know.
Yeah.
But everyone wants it to be his first job,
Yeah.
and you sort of start your real job going, yeah, this is just on the sidelines. Like it's just part time. I'm a full-time rock star, part-time, whatever. But but in terms of gigs, we've did quite a few last year. I'd say 7 over the period of sort of 5 months is a decent amount, and then we've got quite a few booked in this year. So just getting that momentum, and sort of we didn't have a ton of contacts and a ton of promoter contacts, so we've had to really start from scratch, to be honest, in terms of getting that sort of leg up.
This guy's emailed every promoter I'm pretty sure that's ever existed.
So, I mean, have you been playing just sort of like around Leeds and that sort of way, or how far out have you stretched yourselves?
We managed to get over to Harrogate, didn't we? A few weeks ago.
Yeah. Which was a cool gig.
I can't think what that
place called the Den in Harrogate.
The Den, that was it.
Yeah, that was excellent. And well, we've got one coming up in Hull.
Yeah, we're playing in Hull. We were supposed to have a gig in Middlesbrough just before Christmas, but it ended up getting canned. I think the promoter had a fallout with the venue for something, so we didn't end up doing that one. But yeah, I think we are looking to sort of branch out. You know, I mean, we'd play anywhere really, but it's sort of, we've got a good following in Leeds, but we'd sort of need to be given a couple of support slots in other areas just to get us out there. There
does seem to be, I mean, I found this last year, there seemed to be a lot of up and coming bands coming from sort of Manchester, Leeds, that sort of band, if you like, across the north of England. There seems to be a lot of bands coming out of there at the moment, and there's a lot of venues up there that seem to be putting on some really good music. So, I mean, it's an opportunity now, I think, for any band from that kind of area to kind of really get out there and put themselves about a bit as far as that goes. And of course, the fact is, once you've played a few more gigs up there, you can then start moving further down, because the people who are promoting gigs in the sort of in the south will have heard of you because of the fact that they've seen those, you know, your name around and that sort of thing. So
it's about getting on the scene and then going to other, I think an important thing is going to other unsigned bands gigs and chatting to them afterwards, and because the more you can sort of get to know each other, you help each other out. You know, it's like anything really. You know, we'll put you on sport, you bring us on sport. It's a good social scene, which I think we probably need to branch into a bit more of that sort of the social aspects of the other bands. I think it's something we can definitely.
I think there's a burgeoning scene. Like, I think it might be hope as much as it is based on any real sort of evidence, but there is a sort of a feeling that rock, whilst it has taken a back seat, you know, it's been happening over the last 30 years, it is not dead in the water. I still think there's a chance that that rock music starts getting more popular again.
The interesting thing for me is the fact that there was the whole kind of Britpop thing, and lots of bands came out trying to sound like all the other bands. But what I found is that there's a real kind of diversity of styles of bands at the moment, but they all fit into this kind of rock bracket, if you like. But there's like, you know, you've got punk rock bands, you've got alt rock, you've got indie rock, you've got classic rock, and, you know, all different types of rock bands that are all playing all these venues, and some of them playing them together.
Yeah.
Which makes a really good mixture, because you get a crossover audience as well. So it works really well.
That's very true. And I'd probably say that maybe today there's more crossover appeal because people's tastes in music are probably a little bit broader than they have been in the past, because people have got access to pretty much any song anywhere. You know, that we've got a lot of crossover, even though our rocky stuff with a 4-piece is quite different to the 3-piece acoustic. There's quite a crossover in the appeal there.
Yeah.
we played with some pretty diverse acts. Like we've played gigs before with like pretty indie poppy people, and then we played a gig, you know, a couple of weeks later with like a super heavy band.
Yeah.
It's let's say it's good because you sort of do have that diverse mix.
And it also shows that we kind of don't fit in any one place, and that's quite good.
I think there's a lot of bands like that. It's becoming a lot less like pigeonholed. There's no, you know, people don't fit themselves into little categories anymore, which is why a lot of bands use this alt rock sort of catch-all sort of thing. But it's, you know, it's good to see, because I personally, I can't stand it. I've never liked that whole, you know, this is a heavy metal band, this is a rock band, this is it's like, you know, it's just music, you know, and just go and enjoy the music. It doesn't matter what it is. It used to be like that when I was younger. in my youth, you quite often you go and see 3 or 4 bands on the same bill, and one of them would be almost like a soul band, but because of the type of music they were playing, it was still fairly heavy and fairly rocky. So it was kind of accepted that was all, it all kind of fitted in together. But yeah, I like the fact that it's kind of opening up a bit more and that sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Here's some more of their music.
I was promised the world, but I soon learned the truth that it quickly turns. There ain't no magic trick, and before I knew it, I was in the thick of it. I'll push this right to the edge. Broken bones and gritty fights, but I'm so sad right on my sights. Piece by piece, the master plan. You won't stop me, I'm the man, and I can fly. Oh yeah.
So, do you have a glorious 10-year plan, or are you playing things a year at a time, or what's your kind of plans for the future?
It is very much day by day.
Well, I'll be these guys' age in 10 years.
Yeah. He's a little bit younger than us. He's 20, and I turned 26 last Friday.
Right.
So a little bit of a sort of thinking of, will I be cool enough to do this in 5 years' time? You know, so there is a little bit of a take it day by day, because we want to get somewhere quite quickly, sort of thing.
I think in terms of plans, we know where we want to be, and we know what we've got to do to sort of get there. Like, we need to start out in this local area and sort of local scene, and get sort of a make Wolforna be sort of a well-known name, so people know it in the local area, which I think is what we focus on at the minute, and then branching out further. You know, I think we know what we want to do, and we're a way more focused band now than what we were a year ago.
Yeah, and I'd say as well, like, we don't have any particular long-term goals, like, but I do think that I would like to have recorded an album in the next couple of years.
Okay.
I would like, you know, I wouldn't like to get to us having been a band for like 3, 4, 5 years and then and not have released an album yet.
Okay. Have you had much in the way of airplay at all on local radios or anything like that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we've been played on quite a lot of radio stations. Let's say I am like Captain Email when it comes to getting a new song out, like I will. And I've got to know quite a few people who work on the radio stations over the past sort of, since we released the first song, The Fleet, that was like 2 or 3 years ago now. got to know quite a few people. So when we do release a song, it's sort of easy enough to go, "Hi, it's us again." You know, you like the track last time. What do you think of this one? So yeah, I mean, quite a lot of sort of, especially in independent radio stations, because they do give a fair amount of support to unsigned bands. I've noticed there's a lot of independent radio stations that are really pushing new music.
Yeah.
Out new bands, a hell of a lot. And it's great because you see someone, you know, I might see someone who's sort of an unsigned band and they've said they're on a radio show. So I'll sort of drop an email as well. And we've got a decent sort of level of contacts now from that, which is good. And it does help. It makes a difference. You know, we have sort of Spotify players and whatnot all over the world, really. And a lot of the radio stations that tend to contact all over the world. So I'd like to think that it has an impact. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it does. I think it does have an impact, and it does make a difference. And it's interesting when you look at things and you see that, you know, it's sort of like you picked up listeners who are in the middle of kind of like the other side of the world, and you kind of go, well, that's really, it's really good, but it's kind of weird, you know. Especially when quite often you kind of like your music is about you or about your lives, and it's kind of to do with where you grew up and where you live and that kind of thing. And there are people the other side of the world who have no experience of that whatsoever, who are really into your music.
It is cool every time, sort of, you know, you get your Spotify artist app or whatever that tells you who's listening, where you're like, oh, someone's listening in, I don't know, like
Bangladesh.
Yeah, like places like that. And you're like, I wonder why.
Yeah.
But great, like, that's great. Like I love that.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I hope that you get out there and get to do more gigs wider afield and that sort of thing. Hope someday you can come down and play London. I'm in London, so it'd be great to see you guys down here and come and sing live. It'd be really good.
Funnily enough, we potentially might be playing down London at some point. There's a chap that's looking to organise a tour, and London's one of his spots. So if we do, and it'll probably be around April, May, June, probably June time, to be honest. We'll
I'm looking out for that.
So I don't really know it. Like, I know London, but I don't really know any sort of independent music venues there. So
right, yeah, there are quite a few. The problem with London is the music venues tend to want to get money. So what they tend to do is the smaller places just book covers bands and tribute bands and things like that, because they know they're going to get people in to watch them.
Yeah.
The original bands are sometimes limited to where they can play, but there are a number of places that do take chances with bands, and they're really good with it.
If we can bag a support slot, that'd be ideal.
Yeah, I think O2 Arena is a nice small place.
yeah. Astoria, maybe.
Yeah, I'll look forward to seeing you headlining at Wembley or somewhere.
Good man.
But no, I do hope you get to do that, and I hope to see more releases, more music coming out, and as you say, look forward to an album from you and all that sort of thing. I hope that everything goes really well for you and that you do well with it. I really like your music, and I think you deserve to be heard more and to get out there and to do well with it.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for joining me. Everybody watching, check out I keep saying Wolforna. Check them out. I'll put links to their YouTube stuff and to their social media stuff, so you can see where they're playing and when, and keep an eye out for them in the future. Okay, thank you guys. It's been great talking to you.
Yeah,
thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you to everyone for tuning in, and bye.
In a bit, yeah. Cheers.
Talking music with Big Andy.